Hello, hope all of you are doing great. Let's start today's session. We are discussing today about taxonomical aids. Let us see what are those aids. We have already come across in this first chapter in the living world what is living, what is taxonomy, what is nomenclature. Hope all of you might have learned, gone through the notes that which I have given. Now let us see the taxonomical aids. Actually, these aids helps for studying, understanding various processes of taxonomy. We will learn the important tools that which are used in the taxonomical studies. So taxonomical aids are mainly divided into two: aids having specimens, aids without specimens. So aids having specimens, they are herbarium, botanical gardens, museums, zoological parks, key. And aids without specimens are flora, manuals, monographs and catalogues. First tool we are taking over here will be of herbarium. As the word sounds, it is about herbs. Now basically it's about the plants. What happened here, dear students, usually when we go out, we collect different types of leaves. We take them, we trace them and paste them in the notebook and write about the different characteristic features that we are aware about. For example, if you take neem, it will be having different types of leaves. You will be tracing over it. You will write the types of leaves, type of shape it has, and you will write about its branches, how does it look and so on. Actually, this herbarium is a school project you must have done in the previous classes. So herbarium is a storehouse of collected plant specimens that are dried, pressed and preserved on the sheets. You have the classification. You just take the leaves and paste them and you write about them to assure that you are drying them. If you don't do that, then you will have lots of microorganisms growing there and it will harm all your research, whatever you are doing. So the next tool, taxonomical tool, is that of botanical garden. You are aware about that. So botanical gardens are nothing. A great garden we preserved and conserved with lots of botanical species into them. They will be having variety of it and they will be having a specific name, scientific name will be there and its uses, other informations and so on will be there. So here the botanical garden, these specialized gardens have collections of living plants for reference. Plant species in these gardens are grown for identification purposes. What are the purposes grown in the botanical garden? For the identification purposes, and each plant will be labeled indicating its botanical, otherwise scientific name and its family. Example, the famous botanical gardens are at Kew, England, and Indian Botanical Garden, Howrah, India, and at the National Botanical Research. You might have visited great biological gardens in India or outside the world. Please do tell me in the comment box that which you have visited. Hope you might have visited some. Next, taxonomical aids of biological museum. This is interesting. All of us like museum, right? Best thing about the museum is that if they have dinosaurs or whales, skeleton structure, you feel like, wow. Just imagine about that being reality and how the things will happen. Yes, that's it. In biological museum, we have dead, stuffed, preserved animal also. So biological museum, what they do, they have collection of preserved plants and animals that are used for the reference as well as for the studies. How do we do that? That is very, very important. How do we do that? We do preserve it in a containers or jars. You are in the 11th class now. So you might have visited your bio lab. You must have seen this. We have preserved animals in the lab for the classification studies, right? They will be compressed in a jar. They will be dead, of course. It could be artificial, maybe stuffed or made up of plaster of Paris. It's all just for your studies and not the real one. And also museum, you might have seen the insects. Earlier we were doing dissections and all. Nowadays it has been eliminated from your course. So earlier when we get an insect, what we do usually is that we take that insect and pin it over the board. After pinning it, the insects over the board, we will find out the features. What are the features and what are the parts? All those things we will be writing about it. So it will be easy for us to understand it. As an ordinary people, we may not know which part is antennae, which part is the copulatory organ and so on. So for that labeling, it's very, very important. And also you might have seen stuffed larger animals. That animals may be alive. What they do, they take those animals and stuff them with cotton or with any other material and display them. So these are the things that which we see in the biological museum. So biological museums you might have seen in the educational institutes such as colleges and schools. Museums have collections of preserved plant and animal specimens for study and reference. What is the purpose? Study as well as reference. Specimens are preserved in the containers or jars in the preservative solutions. So it will be preserved in the solutions. Plant and animal specimens may also be preserved as dry specimens. Our next taxonomical aid is of zoological park, or we can call as zoo. All of you might have visited zoo, maybe with your parents or school trip or with your friends. This zoological park has a great importance in the conservation of the animals, which are very rare or in the verge of extinction. Right, they could be endangered species, extincting one. We have to preserve them and conserve them. We have zoological park when they will not be kept in so-called natural condition, but of course in the free environment where these animals will be given proper care, and of course these all animals are viewed by lots of people like us. It helps them to sustain their living. In forest, some animals may hunt them, kill them, or they may not be able to eat food and thus they die. So to conserve them and to protect them, they are kept in the zoological parks. The authorities here tried their best to give all the facilities for them. Okay, that's another tool, zoological park. If you wanted to know more about the animal, its structure and its features, characters, the scientific name, you can ask the manager of the zoo to help you, and of course they will help. So again, it's a very good taxonomical aids. Next taxonomical aids, coming to the key. So what's key? Key is nothing. The characteristic features we give to particular organism, and based on that particular organism we move ahead and come back to the conclusion. For example, if the rabbit has a fur, then we have another animal without fur. So there is a clear-cut division. So if the fur is present or not present. So someone asks you which of these animals have fur, then you may answer the rabbit has fur. That's the characteristic feature of this particular rabbit, or we can say that the key to understand that particular organism for the identification process. So you can see here, keys are used for the identification of plants and animals based on similarities and dissimilarities. So here similarities as well as the dissimilarities, as I have told you just now, based on, as I have given you just now the example of rabbit. Rabbit may be having fur and the animal without having fur. We can take, compare and contrast it. Next one is of keys are analytical in nature and based on contrasting characters in a pair of couplet. So contrasting characters, there is always two opposite statements. There is fur or no fur. These are called as couplet. Out of two proposed characters only, the which is relevant is accepted while other is rejected. The relevant one will be accepted. And the next one is each statement in the key is called a lead. Lead, if you assure that rabbit has fur, that's one statement, and that leads to the next characteristic that could be the lead. So separate taxonomic keys are required for each taxonomic category such as family, genus, order, etc. So next is of taxonomical aids manuals. So what are taxonomical aids manuals? What will be in the manuals? As you can see here, manuals are the record that contains information, identification of the names of species found in that particular area. So in the manuals you can find the record, the information, the identification, whatever is there in the manuals you can see and go through it. And the next taxonomical aid is of catalog. So here the alphabetical list of the species. You can see the alphabetical list of the species. So listing of the species in an alphabetical order. And the next taxonomical aids, you will be having a florides about the book and taxonomical aids such as monographs. That's of important information that which it consists of. So let us see the worthy example we have here in this slide. So different varieties of animals are placed here. You can see it a little more clearly here in this image. They are of mammals with fur, birds without fur, reptiles you can see that is also without fur, internal fertilization taking place, and fishes you can see no gills in the adults in the amphibia, while the fishes in the adults they will be having gills. So through this you can go deeper and deeper and understand the characteristic features. So learn well, study well, keep yourself safe, take care. Thank you, dear students.